All right, the rumor mill has jumped up in a big way for BYD and Tesla. We're going to dive into that today. My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back to the Tech Path. I love the Tech Path. It's a great place. If you're into technology and forward-thinking innovation, this is the show for you. We cover all kinds of things around EVs, cryptocurrency, blockchain, robotics, automation, autonomy, all those kind of things that are kind of outside the mainstream, but it's really driving the future of how society is going to move. This rumor, though, by BYD, or I shouldn't say by BYD, this rumor is basically claiming that BYD will supply Tesla with its Blade batteries. This is coming over here from Inside EVs. BYD is going to supply Tesla with Blade batteries. We've covered BYD quite a bit here on the show before with many of the experts that kind of follow BYD on a very heavy level. Make sure and check out some of the videos on those. Just search BYD, Paul Barron Network. You'll find a bunch of those that really kind of go into a lot of this, including the Blade battery setup and kind of their whole technology and what they're doing. But the Blade battery is actually a marketing name for BYD's LFP, lithium iron phosphate batteries, which is a cell-packed approach in which there are no modules, and the battery basically improves the vehicle structure. It's kind of like the 4680 structural pack, battery pack that Tesla is trying to move to. This is where kind of the Blade product is going. It's a skateboard type scenario. So big insider source says, hey, we think this is going to happen. C-sample testing phase is kind of where they are. Don't know what that means, but apparently it is a real thing. That the potential here is that if BYD, and there's some strategic things that could be in play here, Tesla's already kind of, I won't say leaked, but there has been a lot of recent news here about the $25,000 Tesla that will happen most likely in Shanghai. Well, it is going to happen in Shanghai. They've had projects out there for design moving in this direction. And of course, Shanghai is building in terms of its product or production capacity. A lot of things kind of point to this. Then you put the biggest battery manufacturer in China somewhat to an extent, BYD, in the layer of something that Elon really likes, and that is localization, which creates profitability, which is why they reduced the Model 3 price not too long ago, or just here recently in China. The Model 3 standard range, I think, dropped almost $2,500 in China out of Shanghai, mainly because of localization of all that supply chain. So this could make a lot of sense and could be real in terms of how this might flow into the $25,000 car. So we guess that the potential of BYD's battery might be related to the upcoming cheap Tesla that could start around $25K. That's what the rumors are kind of pointing to. You can kind of see this technology. It's very, very interesting. It's kind of known for this whole approach toward safety. And this is something that also, when you think about where BYD is going, the idea around safety and what this means is pretty cool, because there's a big opportunity here for Tesla to kind of solve the problem of some of this PR pushback with some of these recent battery fires that we've seen that could really kind of address that. And also remember, Tesla has a little bit of a PR issue in China, not a big one, but one that they do need to address. And I think this is kind of a good thing. The China Evening Post reported a 10% surge of BYD shares. That's no surprise if they're going to start supplying the biggest electric manufacturer, auto manufacturer out there. So that's going to be a big deal. Market cap to more than 880 billion. This is basically the digital yuan, CNY, 136 billion. It might not be accidental. This is what they're saying. This is real. I think this is where it's going. Here's the tweet. Multiple insider sources, BYD to supply the Blade battery starting in 22 Q2. This would be a really big deal for both the Chinese market, but more importantly for Tesla, because Tesla is going to have an opportunity to explode onto the scene. And maybe, I mean, you got AI Day coming up with Tesla. You've got a lot of things happening. And there's some, speculation that we could see the 25K robo-taxis type vehicle unveiled at AI Day, talking about this, or at least the launch within the Chinese market. You tie in BYD for production capabilities. All of this starts to, kind of connect the dots. And I do take this really with some seriousness here. So let's kind of jump to this story right here by Teslarati. This is a really cool looking battery. I love this battery. I mean, BYD's just done an excellent job with this. Let's kind of zoom in here on the topic though. Interestingly, the whole rumor came out, again, another source saying the 25K car could launch as early as next year, with suppliers beginning to reveal themselves. That's where I'm kind of leaning toward, is that this is Tesla simply saying we need to start lining up our production capability and all of our supply chain. And who's the biggest, baddest out there? Mr. BYD. Let's not forget Elon. And this is kind of the scenario that he talks about. Tesla's like the Baskin-Robbins of batteries. What he simply means by that is because Tesla's growth is so aggressive and moving so fast, they have to go to all sorts. Now, the biggest competitor for BYD is CATL. CATL is one of the global competitors for BYD in the sense of both the style in which they produce their LFP and also the whole idea around their market in terms of who they're selling to. So this could really kind of open up BYD in a lot of places. Remember, Giga Berlin's also opening up, and potentially you could see something there. But I have a feeling this is all slated for the Chinese market. Now, I want to jump down here to this right here, which was kind of talks a little bit more around CATL's competitive and also where BYD stands. BYD is the largest EV maker and the country's former leading battery producer, which looks like one of the most serious challengers to CATL. Basically what they're saying is that this business is really a burgeoning business for BYD. And I still get to this whole point of the aggressive growth with China and their electric vehicle, their green energy, and their clean technology that they're moving toward. I'm just very impressed with what they've been able to do. There is a little bit of contradiction though with CATL. Basically, they're saying that their focus is on manufacturing batteries for other EV clients. BYD had been exclusively placing its lithium-ion batteries in its own cars, so kind of doing their own thing. And I think what we've talked about this before, and we've had some guys here on the show talking about BYD and why this strategy in terms of their production capabilities are going to start to move into supply chain. And that's where this really starts to go. So if BYD is saying, hey, let's partner with Tesla, remember who else BYD partnered with recently? Check our video called BYD Apple. And BYD and Apple could also, if Apple is in play, Tesla is in play, BYD is in a really good position, because if Apple even hints or sniffs a press release about the Apple car coming out, electric vehicle, and BYD is the potential battery supplier, this is going to get really, really quickly interesting. A host of tech giants throwing their weight into the EV race, including Apple, Xiaomi, of course, Huawei, Tencent, DiDi, etc. China's largest two battery producers are set for a new round of competition for supplier contracts. Hence, this move, if this is true, of Tesla. And Tesla, I think, will trump the scenario of who's going to win this between CATL and BYD. I think it's going to be BYD hands down. And of course, maybe, Mr. Warren Buffett, he's kind of one of those cagey guys. He really puts a lot of faith in BYD and has done a lot of investment for it, and I think it's going to continue. Full disclosure, I'm a BYD investor. You can, of course, trade this. We'll take a look at TradingView. And I wanted to jump in here quickly. This is just the percentage. But BYD had a couple of moves here. The scenario, the blue line right here is BYD. The orange line, I just layered in Tesla just to kind of, for fun. I'll move it here in a second. But you can kind of see it's got some scenarios that are similar here. Let's drop Tesla off there. BYD's sentiment back here in July, mid-July, 6402. Their amplification at 5914. These are very strong numbers, huge numbers. And it showed in this nice little rise up right here that you had with BYD stock before we saw this little bit of dip, because that put it in at around $57 a share. We had another sentiment bubble that we registered back out here in July 23rd through July 27th, and then we saw another amplification. This was 68.11, and amplification grew again, 62.09. Again, what we score Just so we're clear on this, is we score amplification based on, it's a little different in the stock because you can look at fundamentals, but we also look at amplification based on the node effect, meaning what are people saying online about BYD in general. BYD is still some of our most viewed videos. Full disclosure, they're not a sponsor. They don't tie to our channel in any way. We are not shilling BYD. The fact is that they are getting a lot of action in social media, and because of that, I think it's translating over to their investment round and people just being aware of what they're doing. And of course, now with Tesla, I think this is only going to get a little crazier. But you can kind of look at the chart right here in terms of a price prediction of where BYD potentially could go. This is going to get really interesting, I think, in the sense of where it's trading right now, which is around $70 a share. I think we've got an opportunity for seeing another $10 a share. So BYD could be on track to move into the $80 range in a very short period of time. Again, if this rumor vets out and Tesla does have a Q2 plan to implement, and if Tesla AI Day starts to reveal any kind of manufacturing toward that $25,000 car, and BYD just happens to be the supplier, that is going to get gravy time with BYD. So if you guys are listening in over on the podcast, make sure and tune in to the YouTube channel because you're going to get a chance to see all these charts and all that kind of cool stuff. Remember, these market movers from time to time is pretty straightforward. We just pull these together with research, a little bit of data, and some technical analysis, and provide you guys a package. Hopefully that can get you going in the right direction. It's not investment advice, but hopefully it's getting you moving in the right direction. Of course, you can always subscribe right here on YouTube. Make sure to like the video if you do like, and also tell me your thoughts on the comments because I want to know what you think is. I mean, this starts to get a little crazy because BYD makes cars, Tesla makes cars. What's going to happen here? Is this a good thing for Tesla? Is this a bad thing for Tesla? Is Tesla showing their cars that they just need? I think it's just a good thing for Tesla because they need to make a lot of cars and they got to have as many batteries as possible. As my good friend Warren Redlick likes to say, Tesla is just beginning. And I think this is kind of going in that direction. Reach out to me if you have an idea for the show. Just hit me up on Twitter @PaulBaron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.